What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, and doing a little bit different setup here, as you can see. Talked about the funness that is behind me, getting the studio a little more prepared, you could say. But that was talked about during the FPO Round 2 highlights. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to Round 1, 3, 4, or 5 because... and life gets in the way sometimes. And yeah, that's about all I can say. You know, life gets in the way and c'est la vie. But here we are with the Joe's Disc Golf podcast, brought to you by Log. What rolls downstairs alone or in pairs rolls over your neighbor's dog? What's great for a snack and it fits on your back? It's Log, Log, Log. It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's better than bad. It's good. Everyone wants a log. You're going to love it, Log. Log from Blammo. Get yours now. So, Worlds happened. And, of course, plenty of things happened at Worlds. Lots of fun stuff. Paul McBeth wins number 6. Kristin Tattar wins number 1. Pretty sweet there. That's all I got to say with that. Of course, a little bit of drama. Elaine King can't help herself, can she? This time, instead of helping Paige Pierce, it was helping Katrina Allen. It was very obvious on, I believe it was Emporia Country Club. Katrina Allen threw a shot that ended up in the tall stuff, in the weeds, and it was bad. And they were looking in the wrong spot. And Elaine King goes, "Hey, Terry, tell them to look over here. That's where the disc is." Again, same as before, you are a media person. You are not supposed to be helping at all. I don't care if you think you're helping with the best of intentions. You are giving an unfair advantage to, I forget at the time if Katrina Allen was on a chase card or whatever, some camera coverage, of course. So, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's just not, it's not possible. You're unintentionally cheating, basically. Giving that unfair advantage to some of the better players and helping them out. Now, did it change things? Not too much that I could tell. I believe Katrina Allen still finished in 11th place, so that's not that great, especially for her. But, hey, you know what? It is what it is. If we could just get Elaine King to commentate, color commentate, and hold her comments about whatever's going on in the course, that would be great, because we don't need that right now. I'm already not a huge fan at all after the whole Paige Pierce, Kristin Tattar issue at Champions Cup. We managed to skirt by USW DGC with no issues and European Open with no issues. But here we are at Worlds with issues again. DGN, you got to do something. You got to get her under control. You got to figure this shit out, because what the hell? This is getting ridiculous. Every time it seems that I flip on coverage, even though I don't want to, I usually turn it off whenever she's there. I end up just like, I'm just annoyed. And this was Worlds. So it's like, well, I got to watch Worlds. It's Worlds. It's awesome. And now we're through Worlds, and it's so much fun. And speaking of getting through Worlds and having fun and getting beaten by a world champion, Aaron Goosage and myself have something in common. We both lost this past week to a world champion, believe it or not. Now, his was a little more impressive, taking it to a playoff, losing to now 6-time world champion Paul McBeth. I lost it to 1-time junior champion Hiram. Hiram, great job. You shot great that day. You kicked my butt. Dude, you kicked my butt. But hey, that is what it is. He's world champion. I'm not. Aaron Goosage, I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain, except I didn't lose out on $20,000. Or, well, what would the difference be? About what was the breakdown? I didn't lose out on $6,500 like Aaron Goosage did by taking second with a cool $13,500 payday versus Paul McBeth's $20,000 payday. But hey, you know, that is what it is. And speaking of winning your 6th, Paul McBeth was walking with some big old balls, that's for sure. Not only did he plan to win his sixth title, we all plan to win things or plan to do our best, but him and Discraft were very much banking on him winning because they launched a new disc, the Athena, 6 letters for 6 world titles. Paul McBeth has not hidden the fact that his Paul McBeth line with Discraft is all about his different levels of winning championships 4, 5, and 6 with the Luna, the Malta, the Zeus, the Hades, now the Athena. Damn, those are some big old balls. Because come on, like, no offense, like going out there with those intentions to go like, yeah, this is for the 6, and you don't even have it yet. Whew. I know it's Paul McBeth, but come on. Kristin Tattar was leading at one point. Aaron Goosage was leading all the way up until the end. And Paul McBeth was definitely battling through something physically, mentally. You could see bruises. You could see his form was a little bit off. You could just see that his putting was a little bit off. You could watch his body language. I even made a comment in the first round, in the first couple holes that he was on coverage. His body language looked a little off. I don't know what's going on physically, mentally, whatever. It doesn't matter. He pulled it out in the end. He forced himself. He willed himself. This was the Michael Jordan flu game here for Paul McBeth, willing himself to be able to do this and to be able to win. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't believe he did this. Like, obviously he is the best. He's definitely the greatest of this generation. I will make the argument that comparing between generations, especially now with the discs that Climo used in his time versus the discs we're now using now, it's just incomparable. Because you can even look, Paul put up a video, it was probably close to a year ago now, where he got some hands on with discs from the 80s and 90s, and everything was understable. Everything was like crazy. He couldn't do half the shots, or it was very, very difficult to do most of the shots he can do now. And it has nothing to do with his skills. He is obviously he has great skills, and yet when he had these discs, it was much, much, much harder to do. So, all right, it's hard to compare. It's comparing Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Kobe. And yes, there's some crossover in they played, but they never played each other at their peaks, essentially. They're always on, one guy was always on the decline. You know, Larry Bird was at the tail end of his career when Michael Jordan was playing. Kobe was there, and Michael was at the end of his career, essentially, the first time, second time. Either way, you know what I'm saying. So it's hard to tell. They're both fantastic disc golfers. And whoever the next person is, it could be someone that's out on tour now. It could be someone who won Worlds as a junior. It could be someone who's not even playing yet. That's where disc golf is in our awesomeness of the sport. So who knows? Maybe we'll see something there. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But it was really cool to watch Paul McBeth win it, to see McBeast mode activate on those last couple holes, to somehow overcome his mistake. Aaron Goosage overcoming his mistake there on 15 or 16, coming back, bouncing back, ends up tying it. They both are tied, going in there, goes to the playoff. And unlike last year, Paul McBeth was able to stick the island and just walk it in, essentially, because Aaron Goosage threw it a bit too low. Yes, it was on land, but no, it was below the OB line, which, say what you will about it, that OB line was there all week, all ahead of time. It was painted. Everybody knew where that was. It might not have been clear with the camera coverage, but it was clear to the players. So he knew what he had to do, and he knew he screwed up. And that's what it is. But overall, that battle down to the end with Paul McBeth, Aaron Goosage, Ron Swanson Goosage, because, oh God, we'll get into those memes a little bit later, but yes, that's where it is. And congratulations to Paul McBeth on number 6. Wonder how many more he has left in the tank. And moving on to our other winner, the FPO champion, Kristin Tattar. Holy macaroni. It was Kristin Tattar's to lose and she won it. She learned her lessons from what happened in Champions Cup and was able to just take it home. Just like, I'm not screwing this up. I'm not gonna do anything stupid. I'm gonna take this, and this is mine. And y'all better catch up. And unfortunately, some people were not able to keep pace. It was Paige Pierce and Katrina Allen, the 5-time world champion and most recent world champion, couldn't quite get it done. Unfortunately, Paige Pierce ended up finishing in 5th place, which is a pretty rough finish for her. She was tied with Evelina Salonen, which Evelina Salonen looked pretty solid up until the pressure got on, and suddenly she started missing those putts. Like, she was looking pretty good. Again, her putting wasn't great, but for her, it was looking pretty good. And then all of a sudden the yips kicked in and it was game over. And suddenly it didn't matter that she could bomb it a mile on 2 courses that were decently open. Yes, there's OB, there were some trees, and there were strategic landing zones. But for the most part, it was grip it and rip it. And Evelina just couldn't finish out, unfortunately. Henna did much better, but still ended up cracking a little bit under pressure. She kind of got close there in the 3rd round where Kristin didn't quite have it all together. She stumbled a little bit, we will say. She is battling that elbow injury, which we don't know exactly what it is. She has said on the Ultiworld interview series that it is something that's not going to get worse. She's not afraid of breaking anything, or her words. Might be a little bit of a language barrier there because she's got to translate from, I don't know what language they speak in Estonia. I don't. But she has to translate from medical to her language to English and then back. It's just rough. It's rough. So I can understand that. And that's probably, you explain it like I'm 5, that's what her therapist or doctor has probably told her, is like, you can't break it, whatever. You know how many times that I have said the phrase to my athletes and my patients, your muscles are angry. And that's why XYZ hurts. Your hips were off for 3 weeks. And so we got everything back. And now your muscles are back where they should be, but they're angry about it. That's how I explain things sometimes because, I'm dealing with obviously not professional athletes and not, I'm dealing with high school aged athletes. So you need to explain it like you're 5 sometimes. Even when I worked with the college, even when I work with adults who know nothing about medical. So enough of that tangent. No idea what's going on with Kristin Tattar and her injury, though. It could be a couple different things. She did mention that surgery could be an option. Physical therapy could be an option. We'll see where it goes. Hopefully we get to see her next season without many issues. She is going to finish out the rest of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season here. And she plans to be at the Pro Tour Championship because and I'm paraphrasing here, the purse, the prize, the cashola, the moolah, the dinero, the scratch does not hurt. That's for sure. Paraphrase that a little bit, but when asked about if the money had anything to do with it, she kind of chuckled a little bit and was like, doesn't hurt. Again, paraphrasing, go listen to it. Great interview with Kristin Tattar. She looked great for the most part. Again, couple stumbles throughout the rounds. She said that she felt like she didn't play that great through rounds 2 and 3, even though, I don't know, from the outside looking in, looked pretty good. Obviously, like I said, round 3 ended up in a tie with Henna Blumroos, but I thought she looked pretty darn good. Hey, whatever. It is. I believe it was Henna, or was it Evelina? Either way, it doesn't matter. Holland Hanley sneaking up in there because Holland Hanley, holy macaroni, she looked really good. But yes, Holland Hanley, she looked pretty solid there for being really new on tour, playing well above her rating. She looked fantastic. Dynamic Discs has got to be pretty excited, and the Trilogy family in general, with Kristin and Holland doing so well. Missy Gannon, she's a second half of the season player. That's kind of the reputation she's gaining there. She is doing all right in the first half of the season, and then come roughly USWDGC or, whenever that happens to land, in that middle season in June-ish, she just turns it on. It's like, what up? A Missy Gannon beat me, yo. And a couple people did, but she really turns it on. The Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, tournament champion from last year, has really stepped up her game. Paige Pierce, as I mentioned, fifth place, did not look great. She lets her mental game get in the way of her physical abilities, where she'll screw up a hole, whatever it is. She bogeys it or pars. It's a birdie. It's a hole that you have to birdie. She pars it or bogeys a hole or just doesn't throw well, and then all of a sudden feels like she has to make up every single shot in the next hole, and that's not how golf works. Disc golf, ball golf, foot golf, whatever golf you want to do, it's just not. That's not how it works. What you need to do is minimize your mistakes and go with the flow as they happen, because you're gonna make a mistake. I don't care if you're, Kristin Tattar, Paul McBeth, Ricky Wysocki, Valerie Mondahano, Katrina Allen. Doesn't matter who you are. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have a drive that goes shorter than you thought, clips a tree, goes OB. You miss that 25-footer that you've been nailing all day. You miss a 10-footer. I've done it. I'm nowhere near a professional. We've watched Evelina do it. For whatever reason, it happens. It does. But what you have to do is have mental strategies to go like, all right, well, I bogeyed hole 3. Let's go for hole 4. Forget about hole 3. We're going to do this, or make the slight adjustment like, oh, okay. It turns out that it seems like there is a much stronger right to left win on hole 3. We're turning around and going the opposite direction. So it's a left right on hole 4. Let's make a correction. And then just forget about the bad shot. Look at it as, all right, did I execute what I wanted to do? What was the result? Did this go as planned? Just break it down into simple things like, all right, did I hit my aiming point? If the answer is yes, all right, you're doing all right. What was the result of that? Did it go all right? Yes or no? Was my aiming point then off? Like, you could have done everything exactly like you wanted, but then realized what you wanted to do wasn't the right thing. Now, obviously, these pros practice a ton, but it can still happen. Look what happened with Paul McBeth. He clips a tree and still ends up making a hero shot to tie it up at the end. It's what he needed to do there at that point, but round 1, round 2, you shake it off. Maybe you try to do something a little aggressive, but nothing too crazy. But at that point, you're obviously pushing. You want to get the win. And yeah, so Paige Pierce, there is definitely something going on with her mental game. And she needs to clean up her golf a little bit and definitely just develop some mental strategies to help with this. Now, you can go see a sports psychologist, or you could see a mental performance coach or mental performance professional. They're, as I've learned fairly recently, those are two very different things. A sports psychologist, as it implies, is a psychologist with obviously an emphasis in sports, but you can do things like, they'll do things like figure out your deeper levels of depression or figure out your deeper levels of anxiety, where a mental performance coach will identify like, this situation can cause some anxiety. Here's how we deal with it to cope with it. This is like, you notice this mental pattern, or this is your trigger that sends you down this road of negativity that ends up screwing you up. Here's how we stop that. Here's how we identify it early and get through it. It really does make a big difference. Hopefully, in the next coming weeks, I'll be able to get a hold of a local mental health coach, and we can get way deeper into that, just in general, not about any specific person. Craziness. I don't know what's going on there, but it is what it is. That's about all I can say for that. Now, it was pretty exciting to watch that. And like I said, Kristin Tattar did really well. Hannah Blumroos did fantastic. And Holland Hanley, watching that lead card was a ton of fun in the final round. And seeing just Kristin walk it in and get handed that trophy that was getting memed on from the second people saw it to the second Kristin raised it over her head. I'm sorry, but that trophy, like, I clearly have a bias towards DD. I like their stuff. I really do. But that trophy, that was, some people have said it's like a fourth grade project. I think it was more of a local artist, abstract artist rendition of what a disc golf trophy should be. I don't know what was going on there. Paul McBeth did show on the Nick and Matt show the other day that he did have this glass or crystal world that said worlds on it. So I think they figured something out there because it got memed on and just it was bad. I'm sorry. I tried to like it. I really did. I really, really did. I tried so hard, but that trophy, guys, what happened there? I mean, that's one of the things. Like it's an easy solution. Every town has a trophy shop. Come on, every town. If not, Google is your best friend when it comes to that. You can hop on Amazon and find something. I'm sure, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. I do like what some of the guys on Foundation have said. Get some kind of Stanley Cup type trophy for the majors that we know are there, and that like, hey, here is the world's trophy, and here you go. You're gonna raise it up. We're gonna put your name on it, and then we're gonna keep it. You know, you get to hold on to it, have the pictures with it. Maybe you hold it for 6 months, a year, whatever. And then you bring it back to Worlds next year. It gets back to Worlds. And then the next person gets their name inscribed on it and all that stuff. And you could do that for Champions Cup or European Open or European turn, whatever that fourth major is. I don't know. Is that going to be back to an every other year thing, or is it an every year thing, or what are we doing with that? I don't know. And then you get, the USWDGC and USDGC trophies and have something, spend a ton of money, spend $5, $10, $15,000 on one of these trophies, and it's a one-time investment. That's it. It's a one-time investment. And then it gets to be awesome in there, and then you give something smaller, maybe a replica, maybe a commemorative disc, a commemorative plaque, or something that says, hey, I am a world's champion. But that is, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. That was rough. But $11,000 to Kristin Tattar. $200,000 up for the purse. $200,000. 200,000 acres. What'll it cost, man? What'll it cost? I know. Another great movie reference there. Great movie. Blazing Saddles. Hilarious. Only watch it if you're allowed to watch an R-rated movie for language. We'll say that. Back to the disc golf. So there was that. That was another fun little storyline that we had happening there. It was awesome just to see her to do that. And at no point did Kristin Tattar really look out of place doing it, which is the best part about this. Is she kept her game plan. I think she learned from her mistakes from Champions Cup, and she blew it. We'll be honest there. She blew it at Champions Cup. It was hers. OB, bogey, just she gave it to Paige. So, yep, that was that. And then I can't forget to talk about some of the other memeing that was going on with one Aaron Goosage. First of all, he did phenomenal. Just watching him play, he hadn't really done much before that. Like his finishes before this. We'll take a look here at the Pro Tour standings here. The Las Vegas Challenge, 57th. Waco, he was 5th, so not bad. But then Texas State's 50th. We had 43rd at Jonesboro. Santa Cruz Masters Cup was 53rd. He did well at Dynamic Discs Open. He did 3rd, which is pretty solid there. DGPT Portland, he was 12th, Preserve 16th, 87th at Idlewild. He's kind of been all over the place. Great Lakes 38th, Ledgestone 32nd, Des Moines Challenge 64th, and then Worlds 2nd place. He improved. He was able to keep the disc inbounds and do better. However, Aaron Ron Swanson Goosage, come on, like, that's awesome. If you haven't seen the meme, you have to. You have to see it because he looks like him. He looks like Ron Swanson. Nick Offerman, I believe, is his name. So he did such a great job there. He did such a fantastic job. Really impressed. I was expecting him to crack the whole time. I was expecting him to, at some point, just pee down his leg and freak out because he is on lead card. He's playing against Paul McBeth and he's winning. He's right up there. He's tied, and he never really did. He made a mistake. So did Paul. Whoop-de-doo. Like I said before with the whole Paige thing, mistakes happen and you have to roll with the punches. You have to figure out your game plan going forward. Like, you can't get it all back. Obviously, I commend Paul for, again, taking that mistake and then going big on a hero shot and makes an insane shot. But at the end of the tournament for Worlds, you have to take that chance. Middle of the round, it happens. Even then, he did a fantastic job. It was too bad that he ended up OB on the island shot. Speaking of Bs, the B pool, we had Kristin Tattar, who we had like nothing about him because he was in the B pool. And I don't like, I get it. Disc Golf Network has limited resources, and B pool was the bottom half in terms of ratings of the world's MPO field. That's what happens. It is. They're the bottom half in terms of that, but Kristin Tattar was able to go like, hey, just because my rating sucks relatively doesn't mean I can't go off and can't shoot the hot round, shoot a 13 down at Emporia Country Club. It was crazy. So they finally got him some camera coverage at Jones Supreme during round 2, but that wasn't that great. He ended up finishing third in a massive tie for third, but we need to figure something out with that. On top of that, also UDisc, there's, this is really kind of the first time that they've had to do something like this, but with the pool play, everything was getting confused because you couldn't tell exactly who was where in what place for those first 2 rounds, just because obviously they're playing 2 different courses. They swapped and then played the other courses. However, it was just weird that UDisc, it was difficult to follow along if you're just following UDisc, in my opinion. And who knows, maybe that's something we change for the future. Maybe it's just something we deal with because I don't know when we're going to have a split field like that. Obviously, they're going to make the field as large as possible, and they did. It was quite a huge field in terms of both, but obviously the MPO field far larger than the FPO field. I don't understand. They need to figure something out with that because we have no footage of this amazing round. And again, limitation of our sport right now. We don't have a camera on every hole. We don't have camera crews following all these people around. It's just, at this point in our sport, it's not feasible. But we are heading that way. I did like the addition of being able to follow 2 holes the entire time. You just turn the stream on and you get to watch everybody go through. I believe it was hole 16 at Jones and hole 1? I don't remember the holes off the top of my head right now. But being able to just sit there and go, all right, so this is how everybody's doing this. This is how everybody's doing that. Then they got to cut to great shots or aces or whatever. Ezra Aderhold getting an ace. We got to see that. That was so cool. They did a good job with that. And I thought overall, the quality of the stream, outside of, say, a few, one color commentator, I thought it was a pretty good job. Again, it is what it is. Here's one of the weird things, though. The cost to get in to watch, if you wanted to watch, very, very expensive. It was like $100 for a weekday or a day for one course. Or no, it wasn't. It was only the one course, but still, it was a ton of money. And the crowds didn't look that great. Yes, it is. Emporia is not a huge, thriving metropolis, but Kansas City, Missouri is about an hour and a half away. You could get people to fly into KC Mo and then drive over there. You could get people driving up from within a 6-8 hour driving radius. I don't know what big cities are in that area. You get maybe some Texas, Oklahoma, that kind of area. Iowa, even from Indiana. I've made that drive before. It was like 10-ish hours on a motorcycle. Not very comfortable, but hey, it is what it is. I say that a lot, but I thought the prices were a little steep in terms of that, and they could have done more to lower the price to encourage more people to be there. Obviously, European Open, everything was free, and that was a bit of a difference there. And I can understand, wanting to make it free versus wanting to charge. I get that, trying to recoup some of your losses. I understand that. And I think there's some kind of happy middle ground or some, it's $100, but you get all the courses. You can bounce between all of them and go from there. I don't know. It is crazy. It is crazy to think about that. But they love you. I'm curious though about what this means going forward and how many people are going to play this next Silver Series that is happening this weekend over in Pittsburgh, because it's the week before the Des Moines Challenge or not Des Moines Challenge, GMC. I believe it's GMC is first. And how many pros are going to be there at the Silver Series instead of taking the week off? We know Kristin Tattar is going to be there, and there's going to be a handful of people that will be there. But honestly, the Silver Series points don't matter too much unless you just, live in the van life. You're headed out that way anyway. You could play it, or you could just head out, get some early practice rounds out, getting ready for Maple Hill, getting ready for GMC, just getting ready for the playoffs, because there is going to be a cut. And it's going to be the top 100 or so, I believe it was, for MPO. And then that field's going to get cut down and then cut down again to only those who will be able to play for the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, where they're going to do that bracket play, that match play stuff again. And we'll see how that goes. There aren't too many people. And you also have USDGC in that mix too. So it'll be really interesting. I know there's a couple USDGC spots open. So for those who have not qualified yet for USDGC, then this is a good opportunity to hopefully get a spot if you haven't gotten it yet. But the points overall, I don't expect a lot of top names to be at Pittsburgh this weekend. That's my opinion. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. At the time of recording, we'll see. There's still plenty of time to drop out. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournament. And I guess we'll just see. We'll see. Again, I don't expect it to be very high quality in terms of everything else. Remember, you'll only get post-produced for Friday, Saturday. Final round will be live on the Disc Golf Network and I believe their YouTube channel. We'll see how that goes. And then after that, it's playoff time, baby. It is playoff time, which we'll have more getting into that playoff series. And then we start the wraparound schedule after the Pro Tour Championship, which will be interesting. We'll have a little more disc golf to talk about, have some more stuff to talk about during the offseason, because, brother, it was a struggle last year, and now the offseason just got a little bit shorter. I don't expect a ton of people to play in the wraparound in December, but they could. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Easy way to get some points early, or just keep in the swing of things. Get some money, because they are Silver Series. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think about having a Silver Series and the Disc Golf Pro Tour season? I have heard things online that they're not too, it's kind of mixed. I'm of the mindset that it's not a bad idea, where Worlds ends the season essentially, and then you have this Silver Series for people to try to get in, try to qualify for USDGC. It's not a required tournament, essentially, not in the same way that a full Pro Tour stop is, where you could have people, if you want to play, they'll go and play. Try to earn some extra money, try to get those last couple points, maybe just make it across the cut line. And then you've got other guys like Ricky or Paul or Simon who are just like, nah, I don't need it, whatever. I'm going to go home, I'm going to rest, I'm going to recover. I'm going to get ready for the playoffs. I'm going to get ready for the Pro Tour Championship. I'm going to get ready for USDGC. I'm just going to get ready. I'm going to do what I need to do to get my body ready for the rest of this season, this last month or so, month and a half. So I think having a silver series there is a good idea. It's a nice way, like I said, to end it. Maybe you have some people there, maybe you don't. You don't feel like you have to be there. So yeah. I think that about does it. A decent length episode here, about half hour, 40 minutes. And I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for listening on YouTube, on Anchor, on Apple and Google Podcasts and Spotify, wherever you get this. If you're watching, you could listen onto all of the major podcast apps. If you're listening, you can watch my ugly mug on YouTube. Who knows? Maybe you like what you see. Probably not. I get it. But thank you all for watching. Remember, if you get kicked deeper into the woods, then you have transgressed against Treesus. But if you get a great tree kick, you need to thank Treesus because you are doing something right. Thank you all for watching. As always, I've been Joe, you've been awesome, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.